Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Nona Sports Show. I am your host and producer, Edgar Rodriguez. Pleased to have your company as always. So, what are the topics that we will be addressing today? First, we have more Nona FC recognition. Our 2024 guys have been on it at their respective universities, so we'll be summarizing some of that. It's Nona Cup week, so of course we're going to touch on the biggest event here in Lake Nona that will be happening this weekend. And finally, huge storylines from the world of international soccer. So much to talk about, and joining me to do just that is Patrick DeLeon. Patrick, so much to get to today. How are you?
I'm good. A lot of exciting stuff to talk about, so we should just jump right into it.
So much exciting stuff to talk about. You're completely right. And to start this episode off, we're going to talk about our ASUN boys, of course, FGCU and Stetson primarily. The first team came out just as we finished recording the last episode, so we couldn't mention them with the SoCon boys, which we'll get to a little later. But in the ASUN, Alan Dre, our 2024 FC captain, in the first team. Not just him, though.
Yeah.
Charles All and Clarence Lorio also in the first team, but more so, Charles All was the ASUN player of the season, and Clarence was defender of the season. I mean, huge accolades to receive, especially since Stetson made it towards the final stages.
Absolutely, and you see what we got to see them in action here,
Right.
of course, at Nona FC, and I mean, the skill set, it was obvious what they brought to the team. It's really no surprise to me that they got those accolades respectively. So, huge congratulations to our boys over there. They're doing a phenomenal job, and I can only hope to see them grow even more on the field as well.
Absolutely. They had incredible seasons. I mean, and it just shows how useful USL 2 really is. I mean, the summer, yes, some players take it, you know what, I'm going to rest. I'm going to take a few weeks off, do that. But it really is beneficial to stay match fit. We heard Ivan Ajakwa say it when we spoke to him. It prepared him for what is it's a sprint. It's grueling. You don't have much break as a college soccer player when you're in season. So unbelievable stuff there.
Yeah.
That's the ASUN boys. Again, huge congratulations. Let's move to the American Conference with USF. Of course, we had a lot of USF first teamers on the squad last season. None other than Jamone Barclay, who I got to speak to before the game away at Brave last season. He was involved in the all-tournament team. I think if you remember back to the Gainesville game that we did at the end of the season, he was the one who put the cross in for, I believe it was Paulo to score the winning goal. I mean, another just incredible player, electric.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, no different from our other boys in ASUN. Electric on the field. He brings the skill sets that he has. Really fast pace as well. The way he moves, he's in total control at all times. So, huge. Again, just like you said, having these guys be such important pieces for their college teams respectively, it's an amazing thing that we can have them here during the summers as well, last summer, to keep them fit, to keep them motivated, and that's the kind of mentality we want. Just like you said, some guys, they can take their breaks, which is nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, absolutely.
But having these kinds of guys that are like, okay, we're going to work throughout the entire summer, get our reps in, and become even better as players, clearly it pays off. So
absolutely, and it's a fun environment too. USL 2, it's semi-pro. It's, of course, it's serious stuff, and you want to win. You want to get your 3 points at all times. But the environment around the team, I think you got to see that firsthand as well. The environment is just a great place to be at during the whole summer. So that is ASUN and American Conference. We got to speed through these because it's almost all of our players who were involved in the postseasons at their colleges. Let's recap the Furman ETSU SoCon final. We did mention the possibility of this being the final of the 2024 SoCon men's tournament, and it was. Furman took the 2-0 win in Tennessee. They're going to the NCAA National Tournament. I mean, what an image it was. Blade, Christian, and Ivan hoist the trophy in the air. Our condolences, of course, to Gabi. I mean, he had a great game. He had a great season. No one needs to remind him of that. I'm sure he well and truly knows it. But our Furman boys getting the job done, 2-0.
Absolutely. And it's a huge accomplishment to reach the NCAA tournament as well.
They're going dancing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's amazing. Hopefully they can make a deep run as well. Our boys, they deserve it. Again, not all of the guys on our team, all of them throughout the last season, we got to see what they did and everything that they accomplished for us here and, of course, in their schools respectively. So, again, it comes as no surprise to me that we see them achieving what they have achieved so far in their college careers, and we can only expect more from them to come as well.
Absolutely. It was a great game. Furman really showed up, and they're the giant killers of this season. They defeated the number 1 ranked UNC Greensboro in the semifinals, and ETSU were the number 2 ranked. Furman were number 4 ranked, so they were the underdogs heading into both the semis and the final. They got the job done. Well deserved for the Paladins. Let's move over to the Northeast Conference. We have players all over the country. All over the place, yeah. All over the country. Nicholas Thanhofer, who scored the winner against Florida Elite in our first home match of the 2024 season, if my memory serves me, scored the winning penalty for the Long Island University Sharks. They win the Northeast Conference. They are also through to the NCAA tournament. Again, potential matchup there. Depends, of course, how the brackets are set up. Right. But the Long Island Sharks and Nicholas Thanhofer, we saw him at left back predominantly. Great player, scored the winning penalty. He is made for the big moments. He sends his team to the NCAA tournament. And also, let's shout out Pedro Lameras. He didn't see too much game time with the USL 2 team last season, but he was a prominent figure when he was on the field. He took his Rollins side to the Sunshine State Conference. That's at the D2 level. They played their final against Lynn. Unfortunately, a 2-0 loss for Pedro Lameras, but he was in the all-tournament team once again, just showing that he had a fantastic college season this year. But that about wraps it up for the FC recognition. That's over 10 players from a squad of, 18, 20-ish? That is an incredible achievement for our Nona FC boys. We are proud of all of you. Make sure you know that. Stay tuned, though, because we're going to stay locally for segment 2, Patrick, and we're going to talk about the big event happening this week. Don't go anywhere.
Turn your pool into paradise with Migaloo Pool Services. At Migaloo Pool Services, we know that your pool is much more than just a recreational space. Strategically situated to serve Lake Nona, St. Cloud, Kissimmee, and Orlando areas, we specialize in pool cleaning, equipment repairs, and pool remodeling, ensuring that your pool is always spotless and functional. We are proud to serve all Nona Soccer Academy customers with personalized discounts and services that adapt to their needs and schedules. Don't leave your pool on the back burner and get with Migaloo Pool Services today, so you can transform your pool into a true paradise. With Migaloo Pool Services, every dive will be an amazing experience.
All right, we are back for the second part of episode 5 already, Patrick. Yeah. That's kind of hard to believe. That's already a whole month worth of shows, which is crazy. But thank you for sticking along with us. We're going to talk about Nona Cup, Patrick. It's the time for 2024 Nona Cup. It's the 5th ever edition of what is undoubtedly one of, if not the biggest event that happens here in Lake Nona. What a great celebration of soccer as a whole. We were just looking at the badges of just some of the names of some of the academies that are going to come to Austin Tyndall and to Heroes Park and to Young Pine and to a few of the other surrounding parks. But we're talking Orlando City Academy. We're talking PSG,
Atletico Madrid, Barcelona.
What's another one? Juve as well. These are big names.
Also familiar USL 2 faces such as Miami AC,
right?
A whole bunch of teams from all over the world coming here locally to play in our domestic tournament or local tournament.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. We're gonna have a ton of coverage for you guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun. All the drama that's gonna ensue from all these teams. It's gonna be an exciting weekend, And I just can't wait to get that started.
Oh my goodness, it's only 5 days away. Like you said, we will be covering it from Austin Tyndall all 3 days. We will be there, so stay tuned to our Instagram, to our YouTube. We're planning on having the show on Sunday night, recording the show, our next show
Even
Sunday
better.
night.
Yeah.
To have that bit of feel, to get the people immersed in what is Nona Cup, because it truly is a weekend full of soccer, non-stop soccer.
Hundreds of teams, non-stop soccer all day. It's going to be so much fun, so much chaos on our end, at least.
And you touched on hundreds of teams. We have around about 40 clubs. We have over 300 teams, so that's breaking it down all age groups, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because when you get into that, that's incredible.
Of course.
And then you have over 500 games throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like hard to think of.
Yeah.
But we're going to do our best to keep our fingers on the pulse.
Of course.
So, like you said, we don't only have like big European clubs, right? Who have their academies here in Florida. We also have USL 2. We have Florida Elite, Miami AC, like you said, Inter Gainesville. These are familiar names. It's going to be interesting. We saw their USL 2. It's going to be interesting to see how they do at the other age groups as well.
Of course. I mean, it all comes down to having that playing style, that you're developing these younger kids at. So as they go up in age, you all have that same familiar style of play. Of course, I'm not a coach, so what I could say could be wrong, but you see it in professional settings, how Barcelona, of course, La Masia. How could I not mention that when it comes to academy players? You see how they play when they're 8, 9, 10 years old, and all the way up until they reach that professional level. If they do, they'll have that same unique playing style. And hopefully, I'm sure a lot of these teams have that same philosophy, because you see it work in many other real-world professional settings as well.
And that's almost becoming a reality for Nona Soccer Academy as well.
Of course, these are young teams too. It takes years of development and culture to build that around. It's not something that just happens overnight either.
Not at all. And we know the club just turned 8 years old. It's almost going to be, we're almost getting to that point where an academy player might be eligible to play for the USL 2 team.
Of course.
Or we already see the USL Academy teams. So we are getting close to that level, which is unbelievable, to have brought a player from, who knows, maybe 12, 13 years old to that semi-pro stage. I mean, that's the goal of any soccer academy.
Of course, that's what you want to see. You want to see the development of the players, the growth of the club as a whole. That's super exciting, because it also means that you're doing something really good in your club. And the coaches are, again, a big part of it, all the coaching stuff involved. The players, again, hopefully they stay in that system and they get so familiar with all of our staff here at Nona FC. That's what you want to see. And then one day they can make that huge jump, hopefully. That'd be amazing to see as well. But
whenever
baby steps.
No, of course, slowly but surely. And like we were talking about developing, we don't only have 11v11 at Nona Cup. We have 7v7, 9v9 as well. So we're gonna see those small-sided games, which bring out the purity of football. I feel like, right?
Like the youth innocence in football.
Right.
Some of my funnest, best memories playing were kind of on those smaller pitches.
Absolutely.
But those are the kinds of memories you want to make as a young player when you're 8, 9, 10 years old and so forth. As you get older, you see the bigger pitches. You think it's super scary at first. But once you get to that age where you make that transition, you're like, okay, I'm prepared for this.
Right.
Let's make it happen,
Absolutely.
So it's going to be super exciting to see how our teams, and of course everybody else as well, how their youth teams do from all age ranges in this tournament.
No pressure for our Nona boys and girls, but they will be in the spotlight this weekend, November 22nd to the 24th. That's Friday to Sunday of non-stop action. Yeah. We will be there. We have other people as well from the UCF Hitting the Field program. I thank them personally. I know you were from there as well, so we're all part of the same family. We're going to be creating so much content. It's going to be so much fun. Can't wait for it. Like we said, it's going to be 3 days. Lake Nona is going to be packed. Not just Austin Tyndall in the parks, but the whole of Lake Nona. We have, I think Fabio said like around 30,000 people flocking to Lake Nona for the weekend. It's going to be incredible. Yeah. You're going to have to be here to witness it. So yeah, just stay tuned to all of our social media pages and channels. We will be covering every single bit of the action. But that is it for this second segment. We're going to turn our attentions now to the big storylines of international soccer. It's been an international break, but who said it's boring? We've had so much news come in, so stay tuned.
Something new, something fresh, yeah, I'm super obsessed. Let me know when you done messing. A little that, a little this, then you put it to the test. It's all in the expression. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a state of mind. And now I want it more. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a state of mind. Okay, you got the floor, it's looking good. I kinda like that.
It is time for the last segment of the show. I feel like it's flown by, Patrick. We've mostly talked about Nona news so far, but we're going to turn our attentions to the wider European international football landscape. We've had so many storylines come through during this international break that we thought were, that were worth covering and discussing our opinions. We haven't talked about these before, so we're going to see if we agree or disagree. Yeah. The first one being Mbappe. We have to talk about Kylian Mbappe. His kind of transition into Real Madrid not being as smooth as he would have wanted. He was left out of the France squad. Didier Deschamps saying it was physical, psychological reasons. They drew 0-0 with Israel. They did beat Italy 3-1. That was one of the games we, highlighted. But what do you make of this whole Mbappe situation?
Well, he's definitely going through a rough patch in his career.
Probably the roughest patch.
Yeah, I'd argue, yes, it is his roughest patch right now. He's really not in all of that great of form as he would hope to be, as you would expect Kylian Mbappe, of all people, of all strikers, to be, right? Well, he doesn't say he's really a striker. That's the issue. So you see at Real Madrid, we touched on this last episode, how he wants to play more out on the left, but you already have Vinicius there, so you don't really want to drop Vinicius or try to move him to the central position.
And then you have Rodrigo on the other side.
Right. It's just that's an issue I think that came down to the Real Madrid staff. I can understand. Yes, I mean you would expect Mbappe to still thrive in that striker role. But he really hasn't panned out the way so far as they would have hoped. So it's possible they're already looking ahead for the next season, who to move around, what pieces to bring in or take out to build around Mbappe. Because you poured all that effort and time. You saw the transfer saga of years to get him to Real Madrid.
Unbelievable. And
you just see how it's turning out. It's kind of funny. It's kind of... So I feel like that's reflecting now for the national team. You see that he's been left out for this window. Surely that's got to hit him a little bit hard in the gut to be left out for the national team because he's always been a staple, a key player for the team. You've seen what he does, at that highest level for France. So to see him, could they have probably used him against Israel? Maybe. But I don't really think the result matters to them too much. They're fine. Israel,
that is true.
Israel for them it probably was an advantage because they were looking to not get relegated from that Nations League, League A position that they were in. Fortunately, didn't pan out for them. But Mbappe, he's definitely in a tough stretch.
He is, and I think it was a problem that you could see coming, right? Mbappe has been public in that he doesn't like playing striker. He likes that wide position, cutting in. But at the same time, you're Real Madrid. You've wanted this guy for 3 years, at least. It's like now was the opportunity. Now was the moment. You're not going to turn that down, even if you're going to have to play around with the position he plays or where he fits in. On paper, it's a dream team. It's like, how can this not work? But
we've seen this before with Neymar, Mbappe, 100%. Messi at PSG.
100%.
It's also a clash of attitudes, of personalities. That's something you have to get under control in the locker room.
Absolutely.
So it also comes down to the coach as well. To make sure that these kinds of things don't happen.
We're going to talk about the Real Madrid coach later on, but let's turn our attentions to Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, of course, he robs the headlines every single time he's on the field for Portugal, especially nowadays. We saw the bicycle kick he scored against Poland. That puts him on 910 career goals, Patrick. He's 39 years old. All the talk now is, will he reach 1,000? Will he stick around for that long? He's scoring around about 30 goals a season now that he's at Al Nassr. Do you think he can reach the illustrious 1,000-goal mark? To me, I think he's the type of person that if he sees himself inching towards that goal, he's going to stick around.
I don't
think he
can retire. He's the kind of person he's going to retire knowing that he accomplished that rather than regretting he didn't try. But at the same time, he's 39.
But the shape he's in. It's Cristiano
it's
Ronaldo. He's playing like a 25-year-old. He has the body of a 25-year-old.
Absolutely, but it's something you have to maintain when you get into 40, 41,
That's a different topic.
You know, you got to average at least, if you want to get it done, like if, 20 goals, I mean, but even still, you're looking at another 3-4 years of playing.
That's the key.
Can he maintain that fitness when he starts to peak into his mid-40s?
Right.
That's a whole discussion on itself. Just how fit is Ronaldo? Right. I mean, you just look at his physique. It's impressive. Yeah. The longevity he's had for his career. If he stays at Al Nassr, it's achievable.
I think it's possible.
It's achievable. He would just have to stick around for another 5 years, I'd say, because there's probably going to be slumps. Take into account maybe he gets hurt. Is it really? But again, just like you said, his personality. I don't see him just stopping just yet. He's going to want to go for that 1,000-goal mark.
He's the type of guy to me who would score the 1,000th and retire on the spot.
Right. he would Game just, after, he's hanging up the boots.
Exactly. We will see. Yeah. I mean, at the moment, he surely has his sights set on the 26 World Cup. You would think.
Yeah, I would. So this is something I've discussed with other people. Yeah. I see him not as a starter for Portugal, but definitely
amongst it.
Definitely in a role, a leadership role, whether it's just on the bench. You see players, they come, maybe don't get as much playing time as they would like, but they're also there for that experience to help with the younger guys transition into those big moments.
True. But we have seen what happens when Portuguese managers try to get Ronaldo out of the team.
Right.
Does Roberto Martinez have the nerve to put Ronaldo on the bench?
This comes back to clashing personalities. Yep. Ronaldo, you've seen it time and time again how he hates not playing.
If he's there, he wants to be on the pitch.
But we saw it at the last World Cup. Remember when he got replaced?
Yeah. Even at the Euros too. It was just forcing it. All the free kicks he was taking, all the opportunities he was getting, but wasn't taking them.
As much as I love Ronaldo,
of course,
as much as I love him, he has to slowly come to, I'm sure it hurts as a professional player, especially after achieving so much and just playing for so long, realizing, okay, maybe it's time for me to take a step or two back and, let the rest of the team do their job.
Right.
And it's time to do mine, which is be there and support as a leader, but that you're no longer maybe the prominent figure, if that makes sense.
That will definitely be difficult for him to
realize. We'll check back on that in a couple of years.
We will, when we're on season 4 of the Nona Sports Show. But that is enough Ronaldo talk, okay? Let's see if he reaches 1,000 goals. Yeah. Let's switch our attention. I know you mentioned Carlo Ancelotti when we were talking about Mbappe. Reports are that he might be on the hot seat a little bit. Of course, we know around Madrid, you're only 2 or 3 bad results away from, you're going to get sacked. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the news that has kind of spurred this on is that Xabi Alonso, after his invincible domestic campaign at Bayer Leverkusen last season, is leaving the team at the end of this season. Weird time for this information to be leaked out, whether it's official or not. We're not even in the new year.
We're not even really halfway through the season.
Not even, maybe a quarter, if that. And we already know that Xabi Alonso, the man who brought Leverkusen so much glory last season, is already leaving. Of course, what does that mean? Well, he's linked to the Real Madrid job. Of course. Ancelotti. was supposed to take the Brazilian job not too long ago. Decided to stay at Madrid for another year. They're not going through a good patch. So all of this kind of works out for the rumor mills.
Could it be that we see a Xabi Alonso return
to Real Madrid? Right.
It's a huge step up.
It is.
It's a ton more pressure because what he did at Bayer Leverkusen.
No one saw that coming.
Amazing.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely was not expecting that, especially because he's so young into his managerial career. Yeah. It's amazing to see the results that we saw him and is currently still doing at Bayer Leverkusen. But now to see him potentially, maybe not now, but one day he takes that step up to manage Real Madrid of all teams.
Wow.
His team, the team that he played for so many years and that he showed out for.
Yep.
It's a huge task, a huge card that he's drawn, right? It's hard to say what could come out of all this, you know, because Carlo Ancelotti, again, a very respected, highly respected,
and it's almost absurd to me that they're even talking about, you're gonna get sacked if you don't, you know. I mean,
but like you said, this is Real Madrid. This is the Real Madrid we're talking about.
100%.
You know,
100%.
We've seen it with great managers before. One bad move, you're out, pretty much. They expect nothing but the best, and right now they're not at the best.
No.
So, could it be time for a change? Potentially. But it's also, again, just like we said, it's not even halfway through the season yet. It's super early to tell, you know, what direction this is going to go. It's hard.
It's a hard time. And we've seen Xabi Alonso get linked to Bayern Munich, another team that he used to play for, that he's known for being an incredible player for.
Yeah.
That kind of comes in the respectable aspect of it. You know, you just did incredible things with Leverkusen. You don't want to really move to another German club. That makes sense. But if that door opens for Real Madrid, even if it's only, I believe, his second full season as a senior manager, I mean, you got to run for it. You can't say no to that.
But you can.
You can.
Because you can see the lack of experience.
True.
That he may have had.
Is it being a little naive? You can look at it that way.
Maybe you could. But, again, I'm no sporting director, so I have no idea what the thought process is. But it's a lot of things that it's definitely a real potential and viable option that we could see happen come the summertime in the off season, or maybe even earlier, assuming that he really is leaving Leverkusen, and then he announces something pretty much, okay, I'm taking my talents elsewhere. We'll just have to see what happens and how that pans out.
And, of course, for Leverkusen, they have the incredible talents of the likes of Florian Wirtz, Boniface, who have not just them, but Xhaka, Andrik in the midfield. Just an incredible, well-rounded team that, rally behind Xabi Alonso. So him leaving, will that potentially lead to an exodus for Leverkusen?
Time will tell. You've seen it happen before?
Yeah.
It probably could.
Yeah. And with teams like Munich, like I spoke about, like the other European giants lurking, that's going to be an interesting time for Leverkusen. It was all rosy for one season, but we know how it quickly changes in the world of football. Let's move on to a name we haven't heard of in a while. Paul Pogba is returning from his suspension. Of course, got caught in the doping, just scandal. Really, it turned out to be, whether it was rightfully or wrongfully, I'll let you be the judge of that. But he will be returning early next year. He was released from Juventus already. Reports were that he was going to go train with the Manchester United squad at Carrington. That turned out to be false. Where do you see Paul Pogba coming back into this?
It's definitely a hard position that he's
put
himself in, because you look at an aging Paul Pogba. He's been out of it already for a little bit. What kind of team, what big teams really are going to want to take the chance of signing him? You could definitely see him going maybe to like a mid-table team, anywhere really.
But will he want that?
Exactly. Will he want that? Yeah. Probably not. He probably sees himself still playing at that high level. Which, of course, nothing wrong with that. But it's a matter of, you look at the finances of everything, just the legalities, all of that kind of stuff. All these, the contract negotiation, what club is really going to take him on, because you don't know what he still has left to offer after seeing him out of action for quite a while.
So long.
I mean, it's not. You can't deny he's a talent. He was a talented player. Yeah. Absolutely. You saw what he also did. How he contributed in the 2018 World Cup France team, and all the years past. And it's a hard position. It's just super. It's super. It's like you have to tiptoe. We're walking around eggshells here. It could be a really great deal, and he's still a really good player, or you overspend and he just doesn't have it. I see him spending kind of, if he does come back to playing for sure, I see him somewhere in like a mid-table team. Okay. Honestly, I don't really see him a big team taking
one of the heavy hitters.
Unless it's Manchester United, they'll take him back, but because
because of the history there,
maybe. But
it's hard, a tough position. And of course, look, if he goes back to the top 5 European leagues, which he will want to do,
of course,
he's going to be looking for those Champions League European teams. Yeah. Another option, Saudi. You could do that. You could come to the MLS. but I mean, there are opportunities there, and if he does come back, and if he does have that same level that we've seen, I mean, I'm thinking back to like 2014 Juventus Pogba. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which an incredible player. Even when he returned to United, you still saw the elegance and the quality he brings. There might still be a spot in the French national team for him. I mean, because we see Rabiot, we see Kante. I mean, these are players that, I mean, yes, okay, 2018 World Cup. Yeah. France is going through a little of a transition.
Of course.
He will have his sights set on returning to France. You don't think so?
It's just such a hard conversation to be had. I mean, it's just super. We don't know what's going to happen. It's really not. It's just
all
like
hypothetical,
right? Of course, it's just like, again, he's been out of it for a while. Yeah. Is the France, is the FA really going to want to take a gamble at letting him back in? He could probably come back for a couple friendlies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But realistically, I don't see him having a vital or important role at all for the national team anymore.
Interesting. Well,
unfortunately, because I do like him, but unfortunately, I just don't really.
What a player! When he's at the top of his game, what a player!
Yeah.
We will see where he fits in. We will see where he finds his new home. That is going to be super interesting. Mm-hmm. Let's move on to one of our last storylines. Like we said, the international break has entertained us on and off the field. Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. He is set to extend his contract to the 25-26 season. Something we haven't really seen from him. We saw him stay for what was it? A few seasons at Barca, 3-ish. Mm-hmm. Same at Bayern.
Yep.
At City, he has he has really built a dynasty, you could say, in English football. He's set to extend, but of course we have the hundreds of charges looming over Manchester City. Lots to talk about there. Will that affect their transfer window? Because players are going to see this. It's like, oh, okay, Pep is set to extend just maybe one more season. All these charges, we don't know the outcome of that. How's that? How do you see all that unraveling?
It's very... All right, now we're talking about legal stuff,
This is serious.
Yeah, but it's like, you have these charges that have been looming over the team for a long time now. We still don't know really what's going to come out of it.
It's taken so long.
So long. If they really do go through and follow through, like, yes, you guys are getting hit with all these, charges, and then they're, face all these kinds of consequences, absolutely 100 million% it's going to affect everything in the club, whether it's transfers, revenue, all that kind of stuff, potential relegations, who knows. We've heard so many things over I don't know, the years it has felt like since this has first come out.
Yeah.
It's just hard to tell, really. I mean, it's either it's going to happen or it's not. Mm-hmm. There's really no in between. I don't know. It's confusing times. It really is.
It's unprecedented times as well, because if they're hit with all of this and they're found guilty, I mean, relegation, would they even follow through on that? It's Manchester City, remember, you know what I mean? And they've already delayed it so long. There's so much that is unknown.
But it's a matter of just upholding the law.
True.
You can't leave, a team. You can't excuse a team just because they're a bigger team now than than others.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fair. Then you just face a whole bunch of backlash from everybody across the globe. Oh, you didn't follow through with them, but you did with so and so.
It's very tough, very tough for the FA to be in this position because these charges go back to like the 2012 season. I mean, we're talking a
years.
decade of
pretty much from the first financial takeover.
Exactly, from
City
the
Football Group.
Exactly. So unbelievable times for City. We will see. The verdicts are getting closer and closer. We will see that. But of course, rival teams would not have wanted to see Pep staying for another season. Of course, they have dominated English football this season. Who knows? Liverpool have started incredibly. Arsenal in the race. It's a little tough already. But that Premier League race, this Premier League scandal, really, it's a saga. Will be interesting to see how it plays out.
And well, one of the last things I want to talk about, of course.
Let's take it to the NWSL, Patrick.
Yes,
I know where you want to go with this.
Yes, the NWSL and of course MLS after real quickly, but Orlando Pride. We touched on this like 2 weeks ago before they played their first playoff game against the Chicago Red Stars. They beat the Red Stars 4-1 at home. Over the weekend, they beat KC Current 3-2. An amazing, exciting game. They are in the NWSL final. They're going to be playing in Kansas City.
They knocked out the host.
That is the neutral site, but
it wouldn't have been.
It wouldn't have been. But I mean, huge congratulations to them. Unbelievable. Yeah. We're seeing them play in a championship final. Yes, that's what we want to see for our local community as well. They're going to be playing again in Kansas City
against the Washington Spirit.
Washington Spirit, who we did beat and have a good record against this season. So they look like they're unstoppable right now. It really looks like no team is going to beat them. Not trying to jinx it. Yeah. So huge congratulations to them, Marta. Amazing performance. Amazing goal as well.
And what a goal for Banda as well. She rocketed. No keeper is ever reaching that.
The keeper just couldn't move at all. Exciting game. Super fun. And then we move on to Orlando City. We're playing Atlanta United here at home, a rival game, Eastern Conference semifinal during Nona Cup weekend. So we'll have to check back in on that at a later time.
Yes, we will.
Super exciting rivalry game, potentially for Orlando City to reach the Eastern Conference final for the first time because they've never made it past the semifinal stage. And this is Orlando City's biggest chance, easiest path to the MLS Cup final as well because all the Giants in the Eastern Conference have already been knocked out pretty much. We'll have to check back in and see how the results go as well.
They are playing the lowest seed in Atlanta, but then, they're the lowest seed, but they knocked out Miami. So
wow.
You know what I mean?
It's and we don't have a good track record against Atlanta either.
The
Orlando
rivalry
City
is there.
Not. So the rivalry is very much well in live. This is the biggest rivalry game between the two to this day in the playoffs. A huge game for our community as well, because if they can also make the MLS Cup final potentially,
unbelievable.
Two professional Orlando soccer teams playing in their respective finals potentially. So we'll have to see.
And not just in the clubs, but we have the Club World Cup as well coming to Orlando. I mean, soccer is well and truly alive here in Orlando, Central Florida. We will keep an eye on all of that big news. I mean, it's going to be so much to keep our attentions on, but we will try our best to do so. That is unfortunately all the time we have had. We can go on for hours, Patrick. You know that. But we have to wrap it up here. What a great 5th episode of the Nona Sports Show. Thank you all for your continued support. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this episode and the others as well, and comment down below what you thought on our takes and whether you are excited for the Nona Cup. How excited are you for the Nona Cup, rather? But from Patrick, from myself, that is it from the Nona studio. We will see you on the next one.